Hello everyone, today I'd like to talk to you about probably one of the best fragrances that Guerlain have ever produced, and this is Encens Mythique d'Orient, with the occasion of its discontinuation. Well, not this one's, but rather this one's discontinuation, which is sort of the same fragrance. We will discuss this in today's video. It is the same fragrance that in 2019 has been repackaged for the Les Absolus d'Orient collection, which is a very, very beautiful collection that now has been transformed into something else. I think it's called Aqualegoria Absolute. I'm not sure. I will have to check this out. But the bottles have changed a bit. Now these bottles, these bottles were always the same type of bottle as Aqualegoria, but now they have the typical Aqualegoria bottles retaining the colors for each scent, and they are now transparent, which is also something different. In 2012, Guerlain have launched this collection of fragrances, which was called Le Désert d'Orient, and Encens Mythique is part of them. Now, Le Désert d'Orient was, I think, one of the best exclusive collections that they have ever made. I just loved that collection. It was so good. I'm so glad I still have all three bottles, because they are now increasingly difficult to find, and I like all of them. But I think in terms of originality, and maybe in terms of, my deepest preference, I think Encens Mythique d'Orient will always be my favorite. I think it's the fragrance that's most easier for me to identify with. I don't know. I think it's I think it's made for me in a weird type of way. I think I'm the one of those people who this fragrance speaks to. Encens Mythique d'Orient is one of those scents that's very difficult to get a grasp on the smell just by looking on a pyramid of notes, because it's not going to help you all that much. And this is why me trying to describe this fragrance is doomed to fail, because if you haven't smelled this ever, you wouldn't be able to get an idea. Well, hopefully I'll do my best, but it's very difficult, because it's one of those fragrances that's definitely more than the sum of its parts. And even the parts, as much as you focus on them, you can't truly pull them apart, and I wouldn't be able to tell you which aspect comes from where exactly. But the pyramid does help in certain regards. So just to keep things short, this is a rose ambergris with an incensey, earthy, and aldehydic vibe. It's sort of like it has all the elements of a chypre without it being a chypre. At least to my nose, I don't detect anything terribly contrasting or anything terribly metallic about it, although there are so many mineral sexy elements to this that I don't think this fragrance needs to be categorized. To me, this smells of a heated body. This smells of the human body in its raw form. I think I said this before, because it's definitely, this is one of my most favorite scents, not only from Guerlain, but ever. So I think I've spoken about it before. This smells dirty, sexy, spent, but in a rather cheeky, alluring kind of way. This is not sensual, this is sexual, this is explicit. Okay, this is explicit, it's overt sexuality. It's, from a technical standpoint, is a wonder to me, because it manages, this is a very, very strong scent, and I do refer to this one in this formulation. We will talk about the other one momentarily, but this is a very, very strong scent, and it fills a room it stays on my skin for days on end. It has very good sillage. However, it doesn't choke me out. It doesn't overpower me. It doesn't feel like too much. And this is why I treasure this scent so much, because it's so difficult to find a scent that's both powerful and not overpowering. It is the epitome of a balanced scent, this one. And it is a wonder how they managed to do this. I mean, the sillage in the air, because I smelled this on other people as well, the sillage is rosy freshness with an incensey, salty type of ambergris that still retains, because, you know, until we get to the ambergris, everything describes a very pristine smelling, you know, scent. It's a very pristinely clean scent. But when we get to the ambergris, when things start getting a bit dirty and a bit funky, because that's the word. This smells very funky, but not in a dirty way, but in a sexy, familiar way. Now, I think it's time we spoke about the 2019 formulation, let's call it this. And I think it's the first time I will be smelling them side by side. And the reason I'm filming this video today is, well, apart from the fact that I have to give you a heads up that this is discontinued, and if you want to buy it, you can still find it. And I do recommend that you get it because it's truly unique. It's the fact that I got it myself, because when I heard it was discontinued, I couldn't possibly imagine myself living out my, you know, the rest of my days with only maybe 50 milliliters of Encens Mythique left. Even though this is, as I said, a very powerful scent, I still wanted a backup, and I did want to get this bottle because I think the entire collection, Les Absolus d'Orient, does deserve a shout out. I think it's a very wonderful collection, and I don't know about its future. I think its future is very weird right now with all the changes at Guerlain. So I did purchase myself this bottle, and I wanted to maybe give you a comparison of the two formulations, maybe smell them side by side, because I did give this a couple of wears, and let me tell you, I think it's the exact same scent with very few differences. And now let's talk about them. Okay, so the older one, and I'm trying my best to keep in mind that the older one is an older bottle as well. It's a matured bottle. This is a bottle from 2016, so this is rather old. The older version seems a bit smoother, you know, just like the whole content is maybe mixed a bit more properly. In the newer formulation, I can get the musks, the same musks that they used in Musc Noble, because that one is gorgeous as well. That one is also a funky rose. And this is what Encens Mythique in the new bottle has been sort of reduced to, this funky rose. The aldehydes, while still present, do not give it the... In the older formulations, they're just exalted. They're so delicate, and they have that ethereal quality of fruity, florally, soft, warm, and cold and airy at the same time. This is what makes, I think this is what makes Encens Mythique d'Orient unique. Now, they are still present here. It's just, I think it's the funkiness that has been just a tad amped up, which isn't bad, you know. And the aldehydes maybe just a tad toned down. But the rose is much more powerful. Now, if you smell the new formulation, you will have no doubt in your mind that this is a rose scent. This Encens Mythique is definitely dedicated to incense rose, maybe incense rose patchouli, while the older one, it's just ambergris, rose, and those aldehydes. And the saffron, I don't mention the saffron because it doesn't, it's very difficult for me to pinpoint the saffron. But let's talk about the saffron, because the saffron is, yes, it is present in both of them. And the saffron is the one thing that gives the fragrance that bite. It gives the spicy bite. It's a bit of pungent woodiness that kind of reminds me of oud. Because I remember when these were launched, these were thought of as oud scents, all of them. And there are none of them oud scents, which is fantastic, None of these are oud scents. And I think at the beginning, I don't see them now on Fragrantica, but I think at the beginning, all of them had oud mentioned among the notes. So there is no oud in this, but there is this pungent, woody, spicy saffron that in combination, with the rose incense, it kind of gives you that oudy, funky odor, and the patchouli does help a lot in there. Also, I have to tell you that this is a fragrance that's very meant for the skin. I am smelling these fragrances on paper, and it is a shame, because as beautiful as they are on paper, both of them on the skin, they just bloom and they just take off. The new one is very powerful as well. The new one will stay on clothing forever. It's not that powerful as the older one, though. The older one just had that one drop miracle, that one spray miracle for days. This one isn't as powerful as the old one, but it's still a very, very powerful scent, while retaining that wonderful quality of still being balanced and not overpowering, and still very much a pleasure to wear. Now, if there's anything else to be said about this fragrance, I don't think I will remember it right now. If you do have any other questions, do let me know in the comments below. And until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.